So once you are on your Firebase dashboard, go to your project and then click that plus button to create a new app, okay? To create a new Firebase app. And of course, this time we want to select iOS, right? So click the iOS button. Now, this is when you do want to copy the bundle identifier from your Xcode, which is that name. Okay, so that looks correct to me. Register app. And then it will take a while. Now you will have a file. This is again the similar step with Android. And the direction, the screenshot tells you to download that file into your Xcode project. And in my case, it is under my iOS project, under iOS 24. Under keep going, navigate into the folder structure until you are in the folder where you see the Swift file. And somehow my browser, it was trying to rename the file with under parenthesis 1. If you have that issue, delete that parenthesis 1. Okay, so the name should be Google Services-info, and then save it. And then click next on your project dashboard. It will give you some instruction. Okay, so we're going to use this instruction in Xcode. Okay, so the instruction says go to Xcode and go to File, Add Packages, and we want to copy that URL. File, Add Package Dependencies. Now I already have that with me earlier. Okay, with my Xcode, but for you, you're not going to see that. Firebase iOS SDK, and this is when you want to paste the URL that you copy over from Firebase console. Okay, and then you can click Add Packages. So while waiting for that to complete, so click the next, go back to your Firebase project, click the next button. This is when you have to copy some code. Okay, make sure SwiftUI is selected. Okay, and you do need to copy this. Carefully, don't replace everything in your code. Okay, I want you to understand what you're trying to copy. The important part from the lower part, the lower section, the lower half, is that line. Okay, so the important part is that line. Okay, and then there's a copy button. So I'm going to wait until this is done. Okay, so I'm back to Xcode. I'm trying to do multitasking here. So then once the Firebase libraries is downloaded to your Xcode, then you want to click the Add Package. Okay, and then now select Firebase Auth. Change that target to your project, and then select Firestore, and then add it to your project. So you should have two of them, Firestore and Auth. Okay, Firestore and Auth. And if you click Add Package, now you will see on the left side, you will see the package dependencies. Okay. So when you see this library names, that means your step of adding the package is correct.
The Firestore is just Firebase Firestore?
Firebase Firestore, yeah. Firebase Firestore and Firebase Auth.
Oh, Firebase and?
Two packages, Firebase Firestore and Firebase Auth.
Oh,
Yeah. So now if you click next from here from Firebase, okay, and then it will show you the code that you want to add. So now on your Xcode, open your app, look for the file of your app. So now copy that line, copy the import, okay, and then paste it to your Xcode. So now just drag,
On.
highlight, okay, copy
Oh boy.
those class lines and paste it here,
And I changed that to iOS. Oh.
okay, and then copy the UI application delegate adapter,
And what other one?
okay, and then paste it into your app, which is above the body.
Where is
Any other issue with initializing Firebase? So if you get the same error again, close your Xcode. Okay, so let me demonstrate that. Close your Xcode. If you're getting an error, some funky error, open your terminal. So cd your home, library, developer, and then Xcode. Yeah. Okay, and then the ref data. Delete that project folder. You can just do rm-rf, and then delete the name. I'm not going to delete mine, okay? But just use rm-rf, the name of that folder. Delete if you have having any issue with fail to compile. So the location of the folder is your home, library, developer, Xcode. I know my terminal has autocomplete, which is nice. Okay, but this is this is the path. Okay, and then under that folder, you should see your project. Okay, so now once you are able to compile, now place a breakpoint. Place a breakpoint inside that Firebase configure line. Okay, we just need to confirm that Firebase is initialized. So place a breakpoint there and then run your app on a simulator. So still wait. Yes. Okay. So if you see that breakpoint is hit, you're good. Okay. So you're ready to go. And if you just resume from there, then you should see your app. Yes. Okay. So make sure everyone is able to run your app after Firebase is incorporated. Yes, Dennis. How do you what? Resume. There's a play button down here. Yeah. So I'm going to start with Xcode, and I'm being lazy. Okay. Now let's say I'm going to add a function. This is to authenticate the user. You can call it any name you like. Okay. Check user account. Okay. Of course, ideally, you want to make this function to take 2 arguments: the username, a user email, and the password. Right. Okay. And let's say I'm going to make this function asynchronous. Okay, and now because I'm going to be using Firebase authentication, I have to import Firebase auth. Okay. And for now, to make sure that my code will compile, but just return false for now, or return true. Compile, building failed. Okay, so the error is there's like the call may throw an exception, and we do have to call with using the try keyword. So that's the first error, right? So try, but also the second error is I have to call with await. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do, and then compile again. Okay, but when you're calling try an exception, you have to call it inside the exception handler, and this is when you have to use do wait do and catch. Okay, like try and catch in Java or in other language, right? So compile, succeeded, no error. Okay, so now from here I'm going to return true. Okay, and when we have an issue, I'm going to return false. Okay, and then for now I'm going just to print the error message as a string. Return true. Build. No error. Okay, so that part is good. So now I can switch back to my view, and I'm going to call this function from my login view, check user account. So now inside that function, I do want to call. I do want to supply my view model. I don't have that view model yet, so I'm going to put my view model. Let me call it just VM. I'm being lazy. My game view model. Okay, I'm going to call VM check user account. For now, I'm going to hard code some name, some user that doesn't make sense, and type some password. Okay, so that's how you use that function. But of course, you will get an error if I try to compile, because I'm trying to call an async function. Remember, my check user account is async, and you have to call it by await, right? So we have to call it by await. But I don't want to make my check authentication function async. So now you do have to call the entire work inside a task. Okay, compile again. Okay, so that's a warning. Result is not being used because we know in my game view model, check user authentication will return true or false, right? So let me remove that. So we know return true or false. So that means when the user is authenticated, so now I have an error because I have a new property VM, okay, which I don't supply any value here. So then this is when you have to say in your preview, I want to put the argument. Yes, Clay.
Can you go back up to the top of this file real quick? The
Top.
observed objects is what?
Yes.
View model?
Yeah. So let's compile, build, make sure we don't have any error. We do have a warning. Okay, build failed, missing argument for parameter VM. Yes, we are missing that argument here. Well, you learn about environment, right? So it is easier, actually, if I just copy, if I just extract the view model from the environment. Okay, so I'm going to declare that as well. Okay, var. So we use environment to pass the navigator last time. I'm going to use the same trick. Okay, so when you call login view, I do need to pass the VM. Okay, so compile until all the errors are gone. Okay, so build succeeded. Now, because I'm using environment, yes, Dennis.
What does the environment object do? Or what is it?
Okay, the environment object is an object that will be injected from your view hierarchy. Okay, and we do that in here. Okay, so last time when I demonstrate how to navigate between multiple screens, I'm using an object navigator, and then I inject that object. So you can have multiple. It is acceptable to have multiple injection of object in SwiftUI. So I can just add another one, environment, object, and then inject my game view model. So now, using that trick, my view model will be visible throughout the view hierarchy. Okay? So Command B, make sure we don't have any error. Yes, Clay?
Can you go back to the check user account?
Check user account inside the game view model.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, any question? Any other questions? So no error, no error except this one warning. Okay. So warning is because I do have a Boolean function which I don't use, right? Well, you know what I want to do here is when the user is authenticated, right? If the check user account returns true, then I want to move to the next screen, right? So that's what I want to do, okay? Otherwise, I will stay here, okay? Otherwise, I will stay here. So maybe I can add like an error message. Maybe I can use a state var login error, whatever, which is a string initialized to, and then here, then you can say login error is unable to log in, something like that. Oh yes, yep. The autocomplete is too smart. Thank you. Okay, build failed of something else. Yeah, login ERR. Yeah. Oops. Login ERR. Build. Okay, succeeded. Again, I'm being lazy. Just hard code, of course, for you. You have to extract the user ID and password from a text field, right? I skipped that part. So now I expect to see a login error, right? Unable to log in because I just used a random user ID and password, okay? But the login button should work with authentication. And again, I can confirm that if I press a breakpoint inside that function. And this is the function that I call when sign in button is clicked. We have an error here, observe object, type game view model not found. Okay. Okay, so I may have to inject that at a higher level. Or for now, what I'll do is I'm going to change it into state object. Okay. So there are many different ways of to handle this state object. So I'm going to instantiate my game view model in here, so without injecting as an environment. So that means in my, let me compile. Building succeeded. Okay, and go away. So the error, let me try again. Just make sure that we have a clean compile. Yeah, it succeeded. I don't know why the error is still there. That's from the previous snapshot. Okay, run again. Okay, it's showing up. So no error, and I do want to place a breakpoint just to confirm that the function is called, which is under login view. Yep, I do have a breakpoint inside the task, and click sign in. Yep, it is checking the call, okay? But of course, it will return false, right? Okay, then it will go here, and it will call the user, and let me press a breakpoint there. If I resume, because we know the user is not registered, so you can see the error local description will be printed here. Error, the email address is badly formatted, right? Because again, I'm not using the correct email. Okay, but if I resume, it's now back to the view. The view will unable to log in. So the message is printed. Okay, so now if I use my correct password, I think I have the me.test.com, and my password is 123456. I think. Let's try. So it should authenticate me, and I should move on to the next screen. Sign in, and then let me just remove the breakpoint. Remove the breakpoint again. So still an error, but the error should be different this time. So if I print the error, password is invalid. Okay. So I think my password is 12345667. Okay. Let me try that again. Game view, not game view, login view, login view, 7 or something else. I forgot my password actually. Yeah, but it should work. Okay. Yeah. So question about how to incorporate authentication into Firebase. So you learn the principle of using one function, using the other function will follow the same pattern. Okay? Yeah, it works. Okay? So I'm authenticated, I'm now into the game. Okay? So handling logout will be similar logic. So I already have the slide for you to check. Okay? So